Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tabor Talk. I'm your host, Michael Tabor, podcasting from the Catskills. Look how beautiful it is. The leaves are changing. It's Tuesday, October 1st. So getting right into this. Two books that I am currently reading. Okay? Let me hold this up here. All right, you have Robert Lanza's BIOCENTRISM, per recommendation from people on YouTube. I posted something, thank you very much, people. I appreciate this. I'm halfway through this. This is really interesting. I'm going to be really getting into the double slit experiment and all that, but let me finish first. But, okay, so Robert Lanza's BIOCENTRISM and Dr. Joe Dispenza's The Placebo Effect. You are the placebo. Okay. So, I know what you mainstream physicists, conservative, if you want to call them conservative physicists, but mainstream physicists are saying, bullshit. This is bullshit, and this is bullshit, and this is bullshit. It's woo-woo, as they would say. Well, I say, no, you're woo-woo, and let me just explain. Okay, let me just present the arguments for both sides on this sort of stuff with it's really essentially about consciousness, quantum physics, etc. So we don't know exactly how quantum physics, quantum mechanics, how this stuff works. All we do know is that it does. It works and it's reality, but the exact mechanism and why and this and that, it's super tricky. There's not a person on planet Earth who understands it. No one has. Back to Einstein. Confused. Nobody knows and understands it. All we know is that it works. We have cell phones. We have all this technology is based on the calculations made with quantum physics, quantum mechanics. Okay, so fast forward. There are two schools. Well, there are more than two schools, but let's just stick with the two. Say a guy like Sean Carroll, right? Who's a mainstream theoretical physicist, right, out there in Caltech. He's an amazing guy. I listen to his podcast and all that. And then you have guys this guy like Robert Lanza. All right, so Robert Lanza claims that we are part of the world, that consciousness is just as real as this table or this or anything, matter in motion, that consciousness can actually affect matter. All right, let me say something. Your thoughts can have an effect on so-called solid matter. Actually, nothing solid, but okay, so that's the argument. Sean Carroll say bullshit, or those people, okay? And let me just talk about some of the films and documentaries, there's What the Bleep is going on, or What the Bleep, it doesn't matter. What the Bleep, what's the name of the film? What the Bleep do we know? And The Secret, huge films that came out about 10 years ago. People, all the New Agers jumped on it, the magic of believing and thinking big, and all you have to do is think something I want to be rich. I'll just imagine I'm a billionaire and it'll manifest. So I'll send the messages out into the universe and everything. Okay, listen. Now that's ridiculous. All right, there's some truth to it, but slow down. Now, and kind of actually, I believe Joe Dispenza was a part of that. What the Bleep? Okay. Sean Carroll will say, "Hey, you're this is just nonsense. This is woo-woo, and consciousness has no effect on matter." Or he won't say that exactly. He'll say "Oh, well, human beings we are a quantum system. So yes, of course, this is going to have an effect." Okay, so the two camps, consciousness is a. Let me phrase it this way, and I'm really sort of simplifying and not really getting into nuance here, just for the sake of this particular video recording. But consciousness, like Robert Lanza and Joe Dispenza will say, consciousness actually has an effect on matter. In fact, you can let's say a person's health. You could, with your mind, heal yourself. This is what Dispenza will say with the placebo effect, and same with Robert Lanza, how consciousness has this incredible effect that we've overlooked, okay? And Sean Carroll will say, no, 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 no. Now, the way Robert Lanza presents his arguments, he's saying, like, hey, like Robert Lanza, Sean Carroll, like you're like this woo-woo New Ager guy, right? Like you're telling me if I think about something, I could cause effect. And Robert Lanza will say yes. And he goes, well, who are you calling woo-woo or someone who's way out there? You know what Sean Carroll's argument is? The many worlds interpretation. Okay, so let me break this down in layperson's language. The people in the many worlds interpretation camp will say that anything that happens branches off, like in a quantum system. So right now, I am talking to you. I'm doing this video recording, but in another universe, I'm not. I'm not doing this recording. It goes on to infinity. Every single moment is branched, and there are infinite universes. Sounds pretty kooky, right? So Sean Carroll, who's the one in the woo-woo camp? Okay, so you have that. Here's another thing. When you talk about time and space, when you ask someone who's a mainstream physicist, you'll say, what happened before the Big Bang? And mainstream physicists will say, well, that the question's ridiculous because time is a dimension and time didn't exist. Even the late Stephen Hawking would say that question doesn't even make sense because time did not exist before the Big Bang. You see what I mean? But you're like, wait a minute, that's not satisfying at all. Okay, if you're saying that, but like the second before the Big Bang, what was there? Okay, so you have that. And here's another thing. Big Bang, that we came, this whole universe, right? Not just this planet Earth, but this whole galaxy, Milky Way, with 100 billion stars and then 100 billion galaxies, and it's expanding and growing. In the center of each galaxy, there's a black hole which leads to an infinite number of universes. All started from a point smaller than this right here. See this pinpoint? The whole universe. You're telling me I'm the woo-woo guy? That's what mainstream scientists will say. This whole universe started from this point. The whole universe. Who's the woo-woo? Okay. I'll be getting into this more. I hope this makes sense. I'm really excited about this. Robert Lanza's Biocentrism and Dr. Joe Dispenza's Placebo. Okay, people. Good friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience. Peace, love, and understanding here on Tabor Talk.